Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System 22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got a great fun one for you today. If I refresh this page, watch what happens. We've got a little number counter. It's going to count up. It's going to expand and disappear. And we got a little button that's going to pop in. And of course they can hover over it, take them wherever you want. That's a really nice little eye-catching thing to have. People land on that page, that's going to get their attention pretty quickly, which is exactly what you want. Really easy to do, so let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder. Once enabled, I'm going to go down, I'm going to add a new section. Little blue button to add a new section. I'm going to make it a regular section. Inside, we're going to throw a single column. Inside that column, let's put a circle counter. And just so we don't get confused, I'm going to save that. And let's delete this top section so it's out of the way. Okay, well here we've got a section. As you see, we put a row in it and we put our little circle counter in. So I'm going to go in my circle counter. Of course, decorate it how you want it. I'm going to take the number up to 100. We're going to leave the % sign there. I think I said, "Are you ready?" or something like that. Over in the design, the actual circle itself, I made the circle color red. I got rid of any background color so you just see the circle itself feeding in. I did make this text also red. I'm clicking on the little pencil associated with it. It takes us straight to the edit bar for it. So I'm going to make that red. I think I also made it bold. I brought it a little bit up in size. Not going to miss that. And with our little text down here, I think I just capitalized that, made it semi-bold, and we'll make it just a little bit bigger too. Great, well there's our first element. Let's save those changes, and we're going to add a button underneath this. This is the button that's going to pop in afterwards. I'm going to hit the plus to add a new button. There's the button. Let's put it in over on the left hand side. Let's just bump it in the middle, going over to design here, alignment, going to pop it in the middle. Great, that's where I want it. Now back to content. Obviously put what you want your button to stay here in the text. The link where you want to take people when they click on your button. And always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, keep it in the same window. If you're linking to somebody else's site, open it in a new tab so your site stays open. Great, well let's just style up the button, the colors that we want it. I'll keep this very simple. Button text color, I'm going to make that white. It's going to disappear into the background there. Button background, we're going to make that red. When they hover over it, I want it to change color. So if we hover up over the dark writing here, we can hit the little arrow, gives us 2 tabs. Desktop, when the mouse is not on it, I want it to stay red. We click on the hover tab, I'm going to turn it green when they hover over it. Some pretty loud colors there. Great, well let's roll down a little bit more. I'm not going to have a border on mine. So I'm going to just take the border down to 0 there. If you want to give your button curved corners, you can do here. Let's perhaps give it 10 so it's slightly rounded. It's entirely up to you. And if you want it to be a pill-shaped button, give it a higher value. I guess I'll just leave it like that. That's fine. I'm going to leave it on the default font. Divi's got plenty to choose from. Just click on there, roll over a font. It'll give you an example. Like I said, I'm going to leave mine on the default there. I will capitalize mine though. I think I'll make that perhaps bold. It's got an icon when you roll over it, which is a little chevron there. I'm going to leave it just like that. If you want to choose a different one, you can there. Or if you want it to be shown all the time, you can click that. It'll be there all the time. I will add a little bit of text shadow to my button, just to make it stand out there. Let's roll on down now to the spacing. We'll use padding to make this button quite a bit bigger. I'm going to perhaps put 20 pixels top and bottom. Hit the chain, it'll do the other side. And let's perhaps give it 80 pixels left and right and make it a lot wider. Great. And just to finish off, I'm going to add a little box shadow. Fantastic. Okay, just to make this a little bit more interesting, as it's the only thing in the section, I put that background with a gradient in a little image over here. So let's do that. Into the section. Always find background under content here. I'm going to use a gradient. I'm going to hit the plus. That actually doesn't look too bad. It's not what I'm going to use though. I've got 2 stops on my gradient. I want to change it from linear, so it goes from blue to green this way, to circular, so it's got a color in the middle and another color on the outside. And the blue looks like it's in the middle there, so I want to make this a white. I click on it and make it white. And the green's on the other end. I think for this one I just used the default purple. But to separate it a little bit more, so it's got a completely white background here, we can move our stops a little way. I think I move my white to 25%. I'm just clicking on it and dragging it up to where I want it. I think I'll move the purple down to 75%. It's not too bad where it is. Obviously, adjust to taste. And then to offset it a little bit more, I just added that little image of the woman here to make it a little bit more exciting. So we can go over to our background image, the next tab here, add a background image. I've got a transparent PNG. There's no background there on this young lady. So I'm going to select that one. We'll pop it in there. Not going to work for me right there. So instead of cover, I'm going to have it fit. So it'll just show the whole image fitting to the section size itself. But I want it to be over here somewhere. So rather than center, I'm going to say bottom right. Perfect. Just exactly what I wanted. Okay, well, let's make these things disappear and appear the way we want them. This one, a little counter here, we want it to count up to 100%, expand and disappear. Then the button, we don't want to see it at all until this disappears on the top. Then we want this button to appear and zoom up to the middle right about there. So to do that, we're going to go into our top module here, a little circle counter settings. I'm going to go over to Advanced and Custom CSS. We're going to use the fantastic Freeform CSS tab here. To select the whole module itself, I'm going to write selector. And open and close some curly brackets. Inside the brackets, we can decide what we want it to do. Well, I want to create an animation to make it expand and disappear after so many seconds. So I'm going to say animation, colon, the name of the animation itself. I'm going to call mine CDN, sort of countdown shorthand if you want. I'm going to run it for 5 seconds, 5S. I want it to run forwards. Now that we've given it a name of CDN, we need to create that animation using keyframes. So I'm going to drop down a couple more. I'm going to say at keyframes, KEYFRAMES, and the name which we gave it, which was CDN. Then we can open and close some more curly brackets and decide what we want to do with our 5-second timeline. Well, at 0%, basically when the page loads, 0 the percent sign, let's open and close some more curly brackets. I just want it to be visible normally. So I'm going to say opacity 1. Opacity 1 is fully visible. Opacity 0 is invisible. And you can have 1.1, 1.2, etc. Different grades. I'm going to copy this a couple times now from the 0% to that first curly bracket there. Control-C to copy. I'm going to drop down once. I'm going to paste it in there. Control-V. I'm going to drop down again. Paste it in there again. Control-V. I'm going to say at 90%, I still want it to be at opacity 1, fully visible. Had I gone to 100% and just put a 0 in there, it would be fading out from when the page loads, and it would finally be invisible after the 5 seconds. I don't want that. I want it to be fully visible and then fade out in the last 10% of our 5 seconds there. So at 100%, I'm going to make this 0. Invisible, as you can see, or as you can't see, it's disappeared. Fantastic. But I also want it to scale out, grow bigger when it goes out, as you saw earlier. To do that, at 90%, after our opacity 1 there, I'm going to put transform scale with some round brackets at the end. And at 90%, I still want it to be normal size, which is 1 or 100% that would be. So I'm going to copy that. At 100%, just as it's disappearing, I want it to scale out. So I'm going to paste that after it. I'm going to make it twice the size, 200% the size. So it's going to grow from 100% to 200% just in that last 10% of time there. So let's put a 2 in there for 200%. Fantastic. Now, if you want to check this, we need to save it, exit the Visual Builder, and refresh the page. But there's another little trick here if you want to do that. You can actually hit the purple button rather than saving and doing all that. We'll go to wireframe mode, a little icon on the left-hand side there. And this is a great way of editing and doing things quickly without all the visuals going on. If I flip back now to desktop, it'll reload that page. There's our counter. Stop. It's growing. Disappeared. Fantastic. I did notice we had a bit of spillage, a bit of overflow there. If I do that one more time, flip back. Watch when it grows. It goes outside of our section there. Easy fix. We can go into the section, the blue tab. Advanced visibility. We just change our horizontal and vertical overflow both to hidden. Then anything that goes beyond our section up here, when that expands, will not be shown. Great, so we know that one's working. So we need to work on this one now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. I'm pretty much going to copy the code from this one and we're going to jig it around a little bit. Now you may find you have a problem getting into your module because we've given it that code that's hidden it. It's still actually there. But if you do, you know how to do it. Go to wireframe mode. There it is right there. We can go in, get to it that way. So let's go in. I'm going to copy the code that we wrote in the custom CSS there. Control C to copy. And I say that. I'm going to go into my button. I'm going to go over to the advanced, to the custom CSS, to our freeform CSS again. I'm going to paste that code in there. Now, if I leave it like that, the button's going to do exactly the same as the thing, which is not what I want. I need to give it a different animation name. So let's call it btnin. My shorthand for button in if you want. And of course, we're going to change the name here to btnin. I'm going to make this a little longer. I'm going to make it, say, 7 seconds. So it's not going to appear for 2 seconds after the other one disappears. And obviously, change these to your liking. But I want it to be the other way around. I want it to be invisible, so opacity 0 at 0%. I want it to be invisible at 90%. And I want it to be visible after that at 100% of our 7 seconds. But I don't want it to grow. What I do, though, if I switch back to our desktop, we should see it doing what we want. It's invisible. It's going to appear after 7 seconds. And there it is. At the moment, it's scaling. So we don't want it to scale. I'm going to use something else. I want to move it to the middle up here. I don't want it to get bigger like that. So I'm going to use transform translate. So I can change this from scale to translate. Round brackets at the end. But I actually want to translate it around the y-axis. So I want to put a capital Y just before my round brackets there. And initially, I want it to be exactly where it is, normal place right here. And that scale will go away after I've done this. So I'm going to copy the transform translate there. Control C, and I overwrite our scale here. Control V. And here, I want to translate it by about -150 pixels to bring it up to about the middle here. Depending on what you've got going on, obviously adjust the taste. -150 pixels. That's about where I want it. Great. Well, if we've done everything correctly now, this should work for us. And all this CSS code I'll put down below the video for anybody that needs to copy and paste it. But CSS is a wonderful thing to learn, so if you can write it yourself, I do recommend it. So let's save our changes now. Save draft or publish if you're ready. Then let's exit the Visual Builder. Here we go. That's going to expand out. And a couple of seconds later, a button's going to jump up like that. Perfect. Just exactly what I wanted. I'll just do that one more time. And there's the button. Perfect. So there you go, guys. There's how to create a great little animation for your website. Really easy to do, as you can see. Going to get people's attention really quickly with that. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you. We'll make a little demo video just like this one. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.